I'm going to ask you something nobody asks men your age, and I need you to answer honestly. Does sex still matter to you? Not what you think you're supposed to say, not what's polite. The truth. Now, before you click away or jump to the comments, stay with me. Because I'm going to show you something most people never see. I work with men's health as a urologist. I also work as an emotional therapist specifically for men over 60. And what I've learned from both sides, the medical reality and the emotional reality, is something you need to hear. I've sat across from men who still crave intimacy desperately, but whose bodies won't cooperate. I've counseled men who feel relief that the pressure is finally gone. I've talked to men stuck in marriages where sex died years ago. And I've worked with men in their 70s who are having the best sex of their lives. The answers are wildly different, and all of them are real. So this isn't a video telling you what you should feel. This is me showing you what's actually happening, medically, emotionally, and practically, so you can finally understand your own experience. And at the end, I'm going to ask you to share yours, because this conversation doesn't happen enough. And it needs to start now. Let's start with what's actually happening to your body. And look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this or pretend it's not real. Things change after 60. Your libido shifts. Arousal takes longer. Erections become less reliable. And if you're on medications, blood pressure pills, diabetes meds, antidepressants, they mess with everything sexually. Your energy drops. Recovery time between sex gets longer. I had a man in his 60s sit in my office and say, "How do I fix this? I have blood pressure, diabetes, and nothing works anymore." That's what I hear constantly. And here's what I tell every man. This is normal. This is your body aging. It's not failure. But here's the hard part. When your body stops cooperating, it doesn't just affect the act itself. It affects how you see yourself. Your confidence crumbles. You question your masculinity. And a lot of men just stop trying altogether because the embarrassment feels worse than the loneliness. A woman came to me worried about her husband, mid-60s. She said, "We haven't had sex in 3 years. The last time we tried, he couldn't keep his erection. And now he won't even talk about it. He's embarrassed. She doesn't want to push, and the silence just gets heavier. I see this all the time. Your body changed. Nobody prepared you for what that would feel like. And now you're stuck between wanting intimacy and fearing failure." But here's what most men don't realize. Physical changes don't kill desire, they just complicate it. And that's where the emotional side becomes everything, because here's what I've learned from working with men emotionally. For most of you after 60, sex isn't about performance anymore. It's about intimacy, connection, feeling wanted, feeling alive. One of my clients, 65, told me something I'll never forget. He said, "Sex is actually better now than it was in my 30s. I'm not worried about how I look. No pregnancy fears, no inhibitions. I'm just present." And that's made all the difference. That's the shift. When you stop performing and start experiencing, everything can change. Slower becomes better, more sensual, more connected. But that only works if your partner is on the same page, and if you feel safe enough to let go of the old expectations. For men who don't have that, the loneliness cuts deep. A divorced guy I worked with, mid-60s, said it bluntly. "I'm still interested in sex, but I'm alone. So I'm handling things myself, and every time I do, it just reminds me what I'm missing." He wants intimacy, he wants connection, but masturbation isn't filling that void, it's highlighting it. Then there's the married guy, also 60s, who told me, "We have sex once a week. And I'm grateful for that, but I want more. I just don't know how to say it without making her feel pressured." His body works, his desire's there, but hers isn't. And he's stuck. That's the emotional reality. It's not just whether your body can, it's whether you have someone who wants to, and whether you feel wanted at all. Talk to me for a second. Does any of this sound familiar? Drop a comment if it does. Because relationship status changes everything here. Like if you're married, sex after 60 goes one of two ways. Either it's comfortable, familiar, and still good, or it's become routine, mismatched, or gone completely. The guys who still have desire matched with their wives, they feel lucky, but they're rarer than most people think. More common is this. One person wants it, the other doesn't. And nobody knows how to talk about it without starting a fight or hurting feelings. If you're divorced, you're navigating a completely different world. Dating apps, erectile meds, bodies that don't work like they used to, anxiety about being rusty. One guy I know started using dating sites at 64. He's 68 now, still trying, still hoping, still dealing with rejection and awkwardness that feels worse than it did at 25. If you're widowed, there's grief layered on top of everything. You lost the person you loved. You lost decades of sexual intimacy. And if desire comes back, guilt follows. Is this betraying her? Is it wrong to want someone else? And if you've been single for years or never partnered, you're somewhere between curiosity, regret, and acceptance. Some men feel at peace. Others feel like they missed something essential. Every situation has its own struggle, and all of them feel isolating. But here's what makes everything worse. Society treats you like you're not a sexual being anymore. A client said this to me word for word. "I'm still very sexual, but the whole world acts like it's unnatural and absurd for a man my age to still need sex to feel whole." Another one said, "The day I turned 60, everything changed. In my 50s, I felt relevant. At 60, suddenly I'm old, dismissed. I still have energy. I still feel attraction. But people act like I shouldn't." That invisibility, that dismissal, it crushes you because you still have desire. You still have needs. But saying it out loud makes you feel like a joke, or creepy, or pathetic. And doctors? Most of them don't help. They brush it off. You're 65, what do you expect? Like aging means you're supposed to shut that part of yourself down entirely. So let me say this directly. If you still want intimacy, that's normal. If you need connection, that's human. Your body changing doesn't make you less of a man. And if you've lost interest, if you feel relief that the pressure is gone, that's equally valid. Some men reach a point where companionship matters more than sex, where the weight of performance lifts and life feels simpler. One man told me, "I don't think sex is the most important thing anymore. Commitment and care matter more to me now." For him, that shift brought peace. And if that's where you are, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not giving up, you're just in a different season. But whether you still crave sex or you're content without it, here's what I want you to understand. You get to define what intimacy looks like now. Sex at 60 doesn't have to look like sex at 25. It can be slower, more focused on touch than penetration, more about connection than orgasm, longer foreplay, real communication, emotional closeness, non-penetrative intimacy, redefining instead of retreating. A couple I work with, both over 70, have sex 3 times a week. But it's different now. The husband told me it's more measured, more valued, less frantic. And that makes it better. That's what works for some men. Letting go of old expectations, finding new ways to connect. But for that to work, you need a partner willing to adapt with you, the ability to talk openly about what's changed, and confidence to try without fearing failure. And that's where most men get stuck. Because confidence is hard when your body's let you down before, when you've lost an erection mid-act, when you can't finish or you finish too fast, when your partner loses interest. Body image becomes an issue. I'm not in shape. I don't look like I used to. Why would she want me? Fear of rejection kicks in. What if I can't perform? What if she's disappointed? What if I embarrass myself? And if you don't have anyone to talk to about this, the shame grows heavier. Tell me something. Are you dealing with this alone? Or do you have someone you can actually talk to about it? Drop it in the comments if you want, because here's what gives me hope in all of this. Even at 60, 70, 80, new love can wake everything up again. I've worked with men who thought they were done, who hadn't felt sexual desire in years. Then they meet someone, and suddenly everything wakes up again. Emotional connection reignites physical desire. And sometimes sex at 70 beats sex at 30. Because you're not performing anymore. You're actually present. A guy I know, mid-60s, told his friends, when someone says they haven't had sex with their partner in a long time, I say, put on your mining helmet and get to work. Meaning, he and his wife still prioritize keeping sex alive, even when it takes effort. That's possible if you want it, if you're willing to adapt, if you find someone on the same page. But let's be real about the practical side, because wanting it and making it happen are different things. Dating apps feel brutal when you're over 60. Younger women aren't interested. Women your age have their own health stuff, trauma, or they've just lost interest entirely. Erectile meds help some guys. Others say they don't work or the side effects aren't worth it. Energy levels drop. What used to happen spontaneously now requires planning and timing. And if you're living with adult kids or family, privacy becomes a real issue. Where do you even go? Then add menopause to the mix. Your partner's body changed too. She's dealing with pain, dryness, or zero libido, and whether you navigate that together or avoid it completely determines if sex continues or dies. So here's what I want you to hear. Whether sex still matters to you or not, your experience is real. What you're feeling is valid. And whatever you're struggling with, other men are dealing with it too. If you still have strong desire and it's frustrating, I get it. That doesn't make you weird or inappropriate. That makes you human. If you've lost interest and you actually feel relieved, I get that too. You're not quitting on life. You're just in a different place now. If you're somewhere in between, wanting connection but not needing performance, that's where a lot of men end up, and it makes sense. And if you're lonely, if you're touch-starved, if you feel invisible, if you're carrying shame, listen to me. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to feel wanted if you want that. You deserve intimacy if you're seeking it. Now, we talk about this kind of thing in our weekly newsletter, the real stuff, the vulnerable stuff, the things men over 60 actually deal with. It's a safe space. No judgment. Just honest conversations about what life looks like at this stage. The links in the description. If you need somewhere to feel less isolated, that's it. But more than anything, I want to hear from you. Does sex still matter to you? Has it changed? What are you struggling with? What do you wish people understood? Drop your story in the comments. Be as honest or as vague as you want, but share something because your voice matters here. And other men need to know they're not the only ones feeling whatever they're feeling. This conversation doesn't happen enough. Men over 60 get told to be quiet about sexuality, to accept that this part of life is over, to stop wanting, to stop needing, to fade away. But you haven't faded, you're still here. And whether you still want sex or you don't, whether your body cooperates or it doesn't, whether you have someone or you're alone, you matter. Your experience matters. Your desire or your lack of it matters. Your voice matters. So thank you for watching this. Thank you for being willing to sit with something uncomfortable. And if you feel brave enough, thank you for sharing. Hit that subscribe button if this hit home. Share this with another man who needs to know he's not the only one. Because we're here for the real conversations, the vulnerable ones, the ones nobody else will have. Every single week. I'm Avery Scott, and I'll see you on the next one.